Madam President, I ask unanimous consent that the quorum call be vitiated.
Without objection, so ordered.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I rise to come to support the legislation that we are debating, and I want to congratulate the distinguished senator from Arkansas who has led this effort and has done so with such aplomb, and really with a bill that we can, I hope, send a strong bipartisan vote for later today, because it is a bill that America needs. Americans don't need to be convinced that we need stronger protections to keep dangerous products from entering our homes. Abigail Hartung, a 13-month-old girl from my home state of New Jersey, whose crib collapsed on her one night, she doesn't need to be convinced. And her parents, who awoke to the terrifying sound of a child in screaming pain, doesn't need to be convinced either. I know that even many of my colleagues who don't like government intervention on the other side of the aisle don't need to be convinced that the meager measures we have in place to protect consumers from hazardous products are not enough. And that's why I rise today in strong support of the Consumer Product Safety Commission Reform Act. It's long past time for us to act, Madam President. 2007 was a disastrous year for product safety. There were a record number of safety recalls. Over 400 different products had to be pulled, and more than half of those 400 products were for children. That adds up to an astonishing number of dangerous items, almost 46 million items. Now, we saw toxic toys shipped in from China, laced with lead paint that would cause permanent neurological damage or death. We saw car seats dump out the kids who sat in them. We saw beads that contained a chemical that could put children into a coma if swallowed. Now, Madam President, too often the recalls were too late. Last year, recall products killed 6 children. They injured 657 more, and they destroyed the confidence of the entire nation. And so the question is, can they trust the Consumer Products Safety Commission as it exists today? And I think the answer to that is no. Issues of product safety aren't going away by themselves. In January, there was a recall of toys with magnets that could cause fatal intestinal blockages if swallowed. Last month, we had a scare about children's sketchbooks coated with potentially fatal levels of lead paint. When dangerous products keep getting introduced, with 46 million items so unsafe that they have to be recalled, are allowed to reach consumers' hands in 1 year, we have to believe those aren't 46 million coincidences. We have to think there is at least one government watchdog agency that's falling far short of what it needs to be. And that agency is the Consumer Product Safety Commission. Now, sadly, the Consumer Product Safety Commission is nothing more than a hollow shell at this point. We talked about those 46 million unsafe products recalled last year. If you had a robust commission, as the bill will provide for, with all of the pertinent powers and resources, then we should not see that reality. Years of budget and personnel cuts have left it badly equipped for the job we're counting on it to do. Poor leadership and unethical behavior have undermined what little power and authority the Commission has, and no watchdog can effectively regulate if they're cozy up to the industry they're supposed to be regulating. That's why I'm proud that the Senate agreed to the amendment that the presiding officer, Senator Klobuchar, and I offered to prohibit members of the Consumer Product Safety Commission from accepting travel paid for the industries they regulate. You know, it just seemed to us, and I'm so glad that an overwhelming vote of the Senate said the same, How is it that you can accept such travel paid for by the very entities who you seek to regulate, who in that travel ultimately are trying to influence you so that those regulations aren't as prescriptive and as onerous as they need to be in pursuit of the interests of consumers? It was a great first step, and now we have to finish the job. It's time to reform the Consumer Product Safety Commission so that it can strongly enforce safety standards, prevent deadly imports from entering our nation's borders, and restore confidence to parents that it's okay to do something as simple as give a toy to their child. Again, let me thank my distinguished colleague, Senator Pryor, for his tremendous leadership on this issue. And right by his side has been Chairman Inouye and Ranking Member Stevens, along with Senator Collins and many senators from both sides of the aisle. The effort to keep consumers safe should be a truly bipartisan effort, and I'm confident the bill that we have before us is going to win some very broad-based support. Here's what the bill finally does. First, it gives the Consumer Product Safety Commission the resources it needs to do its job, boosting its budget and expanding its staff. Secondly, when it has the staff and resources it needs, the Commission is going to have a greater presence at our nation's ports. And as a senator from New Jersey who has the port of Elizabeth and Newark, the mega port of the East Coast that sees the incredible amounts of billions of tons that come through from all over the world, I understand very clearly how this element is so critically important. To stop deadly imports from coming in and enforce a comprehensive ban of lead in children's products. Children's products will have to be independently tested and verified to be safe. Toys will have tracking labels, so if there's a problem, we'll know who's responsible. The bill gets tough on violators. Not only does it ban the sale of recalled products, it makes sure companies face the possibility of real financial consequences if they break the law. So they just simply don't see the fines for hawking dangerous products to our families as another cost of doing business. Right now, I'm sure that there are those companies that look and say, well, that's fine, I'll just bring this in because I'm going to make more than the fine is going to have a consequence of, and that's fundamentally wrong. The bill protects employees who report violations of safety standards so people won't be afraid to come forward with information that could save their lives. And not only will employees be better able to speak out, consumers will be better able to speak out and listen to each other. For the first time, the bill would create an online product safety database, so we don't have to wait until tragedy strikes close to home to hear about safety concerns other consumers have already discovered. So if I know about that crib and I look online and I put it on and now another family looks and says, let me figure this out, let me find out if this is the type of product that has any problems, and I see that information, it is a warning, a preventive measure that is powerful, because information is powerful, and this bill will give that information to consumers in our country. Those are just a few of the specifics. But the bottom line is, this bill is about keeping our children safe and bringing us all a little peace of mind. Madam President, when a parent puts a toy in the hands of a child, it's a beautiful moment, a moment we should never allow to be undermined by fear. If we take action today, if we sign this pledge to look out for American families as conscientiously as we should, then we will be helping to see to it that nothing takes the joy of that moment away. So I urge strong support of the measure, Madam President. With that, I yield the floor.